In this episode of Vinyl Haul, I've got a variety of content formats, such as studio compilations, demos, live material, and a rehearsal, but also a couple official studio records. Subgenres are all over the place this time, traversing heavy, speed, thrash, black, and death. So as always, you know what I'm going to say. That's right, stick around. First up is the latest compilation album from British heavy rock band Motörhead. This is Remorse? No. Released in 2024 by Sanctuary Records. So as some might recall, Motörhead put out their first compilation album, No Remorse, back in 1984. I was lucky enough back then to get the album in the limited edition leather jacket cover with a foil embossed war pig on it. Fast forward 40 years and it looks like there was more in the vaults from the first decade of this band. So this comp, somewhat mirroring No Remorse, has alternate, live, and demo versions of those tracks, with a few not found on the original comp, including outtakes. Starting things off with Ace of Spades, which definitely has a demo sound to it, but still kicks ass. We get a couple of instrumental versions of tracks such as Hump on Your Back and No Class. Also, the track Climber is an early version of Shine, and Chinese is an early version of One Track Mind. And we've got two versions of Under the Knife, one fast, one slow. And while I'm not going to go through all 24 tracks on this one, it's fair to say that there is a roughness to the playing throughout that hasn't been refined yet. Even still, there's an undeniable charm to these different versions of familiar tracks, perhaps because of some of that roughness. We are talking about Motörhead here, after all. I would say that if you're looking for polished and pristine tracks, you're definitely not going to find that here for the most part. Stay Clean has some occasionally muffled vocals. Poison has some minor tape damage, though still listenable. And Locomotive is pretty noisy too. There are also a limited few tracks that are more curiosities than anything else. Like the alternate version of Louie Louie comes to mind. I mean, it's fine, but it doesn't capture the fun or the heaviness of the No Remorse version. But thankfully, there isn't a whole lot of that here. Anyways, vinyl variant is 2LP silver. It is limited to 2,100 copies. As some might remember from my RSD video, this variant was released exclusively for April 2024's Record Store Day. Though it might find its way into a wide release later on, who knows. So I have a gatefold with some liner notes on these alternate versions of tracks. It talks about No Remorse a little bit as well. Cool pictures of the band, liner notes, and all of that. As for favorites, definitely Poison, as well as Iron Fist, and especially We Are the Road Crew. Great version of that song. Love that song anyways, but this is a cool version. So as someone who's owned No Remorse for the past 40 years, I'd say that buying this reimagined version was worth the purchase because, by and large, there are enough differences between tracks to make this its own thing. Not to mention the tracks unique to the new comp, which I'd never even heard before, which is pretty amazing. So definitely a worthwhile purchase for Motörhead fans. But if you're unfamiliar with this band, I would rather recommend the No Remorse comp from 1984, as it is a solid sample of this band's classic era. Next is the debut studio album from once international, now American melodic black metal band Morbikon. This is Of Mournful Twilight, released in 2022 by Tank Crimes. So the album consists of a couple members of Municipal Waste, that is Landfill and Dave Whitty, as well as Vrenth from Fin Troll. Not quite sure this is a mix of styles from the two bands because although there is some thrash in here, I'm getting a lot more black metal in general. So Complete Mayhem blasts at you right away with frenzied beats and single note madness going straight into the screeching and growls. Definitely some second wave black metal influence here with smacks of Emperor and Immortal throughout. Plenty of interesting tempo shifts here as well, bringing some of the spookier moments and even faint hints of heavy metal when things slow down a little, notably in some of the choruses where the leads sometimes wander into more trad territory, but also when things really slow down, such as the occasional acoustic and slow electric guitar passages, when you almost get fleeting moments of Testament and even Merciful Fate, but soon enough back to alternate blasts and stomps. Overall, I'm really digging this blending of styles. You also get some atmospheric keyboards here and there, but again, purely for atmosphere. They're largely background sounds. And the riffs are often catchy as hell. Can't state that enough. Also, if you listen carefully, at times you'll even catch some cool wandering bass lines, which of course, I always love. Anyways, vinyl vendor on this one is 1 LP, transparent with black, blue, and silver splatter. There you are. Also comes with a sticker. There. Band logo. As well as a really cool lyrics booklet. It's kind of almost CD size, maybe a little bigger. Very much looking very black metal there with the text. And so on and so forth. So, you know, text. And the back page there for you. And there you go. Anyways, favorites on this one, definitely Universal Funeral, as well as Death Thirst and In Ritual Isolation. But especially Death Thirst. I would definitely tell you to check that one out first. No music videos for this one, but if you want to nerd out on audio tech, there is a video on the recording process of this album. It's available at the Yave Rust YouTube channel. That's YAVE Rust. So I saw Morbikon live back in May of this year, and I picked up this record at their merch table. Really fantastic performance, which is exactly what prompted me to buy this album. Definitely one of those moments after a set where you go, oh yeah, let's get that album. So as you could guess, I actually did enjoy this one. I'm hoping there'll be a follow-up release in the near future because this is really good stuff. Next up is the latest compilation album from American blackened speed metal band Bewitcher. This is Deep Cuts and Shallow Graves, released in 2023 by Century Media Records. So the comp starts with a few new tracks, 2 of which written by the band, as well as a third, a killer cover of Motley Crue's Bastard, believe it or not. The 2 new tracks, Manifesting Darkness and Our Lady of Speed, deliver plenty of energy and momentum, some definite head-banging moments, and even a nod to classic heavy metal at times, especially in the cover tune, but generally in many of the solos as well. Throughout you get shouty growls alternating with a bit of the blackened. Also driving and occasionally rocking riffs, not to mention the relentless drumming and some moments of dirty, clangy bass. Definitely some Venom influence here, much in the way Hellripper and notably Midnight have been influenced by that band. The Bewitcher does have more of a fun vibe to them overall, despite the occult lyrics. Something like if Venom were a party band, because I would definitely go to that party, without a doubt. However, it's not all classic era callbacks here, as there is plenty to connect the band to the modern blackened speed metal scene too. Lyrics are also pretty easy to make out, which isn't always the case once you get into actual black metal. So, there's that too. Getting to the demo tracks, we have the Midnight Hunters demo from 2015, the Wild Blasphemy demo from 2013, the Satanic Panic demo from 2013, and concluding with 4 previously unreleased demo tracks. If I were to pick a favorite off the demo, the 2015 one is the top, though the others are well worth listening to as well. Sound quality on most of the demos is first rate, so no boombox recordings or multi-generational dubs here. However, the last 4 previously unreleased tracks do have a little bit of noise in them, though nowhere near a deal breaker. It's fine. Also notice in the 2013 demo, there's more of that heavy metal influence I mentioned before. Check out the gallop riff in the track In the Night, The Cult Will Rise for a very good example of that. Anyways, vinyl variant on this one is 2 LP white. All right. So get an insert, picture of the band, some liner notes regarding the release. Also comes a gatefold jacket with full lyrics, credits, and all of that. As for favorites, of course, Manifesting Darkness is a really great song. Also, Rome is on Fire and Black Speed Delirium. There is a visualizer video available for Manifesting Darkness, so you can definitely check that one out at the Century Media Records YouTube channel. So being reminded that Bewitcher has been around for 10 years, it definitely makes me appreciate this otherwise harder to find material, as I only discovered them about 5 years back. Also, I should mention that most of these demo tracks do find their way as final versions on their 3 studio albums. So this is a great way to sample the band because even in those early versions, of known tracks, you get a good taste of Bewitcher's commitment to quality speed metal. So well worth picking up either as a new fan or as an old one. Speaking of which, I did pick up this record at the merch table when I saw them live earlier this year. Killer band live, would highly recommend seeing them in concert. Cool thing about getting this record was that they were selling it for $15 cheaper than Century Media's website is, so that was a little bit of an unexpected surprise for sure. Also, Century Media, lower your damn vinyl prices. Next is a second studio album from American heavy speed metal band Bat. This is Under the Crooked Claw, released in 2024 by Nuclear Blast Records. So like Morbikon, this too is a bit of a Municipal Waste side project, this time with members Ryan Waste and Nick Poulos, though this time Ryan does lead vocals. But this isn't necessarily crossover thrash. Bat is definitely speed metal that embraces spooky and horror-themed elements, which are met with right in the opening track, whose name is in Italian and I'm not gonna butcher it, but it does translate to A Torch Lights the Sky. We've got piano and background synth effects for a brief time and then straight into the speed onslaught full of headbanging riffs, barking vocals, not too dissimilar from Nuclear Assault, and a deluge of ripping solos. Plenty of times the lines between speed and thrash are blurred, so expect some of those mosh parts and just general aggression to come through. We also get some heavy metal playing in many of the mid-pace parts. I do hear a lot of folks mentioning Motörhead and Venom when making comparisons, but I hear more of a speedier version of Tank, mixed with, again, some Nuclear Assault. Though yes, some of the solos do skirt into fast Eddie Clark territory, so maybe there's your Motörhead. Anyways, like classic Nuclear Assault, we also get some pretty quick run times in the tracks, many of which not even making the 3-minute mark. Lots of D-beat drumming as well, which hints at times at some punk influence, but this is definitely a metal record at its core. Also, this is produced by Arthur Rizek, who is very well known these days as an outstanding producer. Love the mix here, definitely old meets new, but with everyone well balanced and heavy. So no clicky drums, no flat vocal sound, or any of that other modern crap. Thank goodness. Anyways, vinyl variant on this one is 1 LP, bottle clear and black marble. It is limited to 1,500 copies. There you are. Also comes with a 4-page insert. We've got the band there, great shot, as well as another great shot, more close up, with some credits and all of that. And inside you get full lyrics there for you. As for favorites, definitely you should be checking out Street Banger, great track, also Revenge of the Wolf, as well as Marauders of Doom. Also, music videos are out for Right for Exorcism, Street Banger, and Revenge of the Wolf. You should watch all 3 of those at the Nuclear Blast YouTube channel. So this is definitely no-frill speed metal with plenty of energy and fun, and with lyrics well steeped in horror, just in case this album art doesn't completely give that away. I'm pretty new to this band, to be honest, but this has more than prompted me to want to dive deeper into their catalog. Feel free to recommend the next Bat album I should listen to in the comments below. Next up is a collection of rehearsal tracks from German thrash metal band Kreator. This is Bone Crushing Rehearsals 85, released in 2023 by High Roller Records. So these rehearsals took place on both April 4th and September 2nd of 1985, so this is before the October release of their debut album, Endless Pain. In fact, most of these songs in their final version would be on that record, with an additional 2 songs later making it in their final versions to their next album, Pleasure to Kill. Such songs being Command of the Blade and Death is Your Savior. Anyways, the sound quality here is more or less standard for a rehearsal and not anything professionally recorded. It could have even been taped off a boombox, I mean, who knows. Anyways, you'll get between song chatter, some feedback, lots of tuning and all of that. It is a practice. But as far as rehearsal tapes go, this is decent enough quality to be pretty listenable. Anyways, vinyl variant on this one is 1 LP, bone and red splatter. It is limited to 650 copies. There you go. Also get a poster in this one. Great shot of the band when they were a trio. There you go. Also an inner sleeve, you get a bunch of lyrics and some notes there. As well as early pics of the band. And a marvelous drawing right there. You also get a DVD right here. It also comes with this edition. It includes a full performance. Seems to be shot by whatever equivalent Germany has for public access television, because the goofy 80s wipes and other effects are all over this thing. Fair warning though, if you're in North America and you have an older DVD player, the disc is region coded, so it might not play in those other players. But I got it to easily play on the computer, so there's that. Also, the DVD is specific to this bone and red splattered variant, and it's specifically a German import, so you'll likely not get this with other vinyl variants. Anyways, the performance is decent, but they do drift off time-wise in moments, which is common for early Kreator. Still, worth watching. Anyways, favorites on this one include the first version of Endless Pain, it opens the record, as well as Death is Your Savior and Tormentor. Anyways, I've been a Kreator fan since Pleasure to Kill first came out, and soon after bought Endless Pain, and then later that same year, the Flag of Hate EP. Love that EP. I did a little bit of tape trading back then as well, but never had these rehearsals until now. Wish I did back then, of course, but since I can't time travel, having it now is still pretty great. Again, the sound quality is listenable, but far from perfect, making this more for fans of Kreator, notably ones who appreciate the early material. Next is a split LP between Canadian tech death band Gorguts and American death metal band Disincarnate. This is Gorguts / Disincarnate, released on vinyl for the first time in 2024 by the Metalhead box. So we have two demos here, one on each side of the record. The A-side is Gorguts with their And Then Comes Lividity demo from 1990. The B-side is Disincarnate with their Soul Erosion demo from 1992. It also seems that these are both complete demos, at least as far as I can tell, so that's pretty cool. The sound quality differs a bit from one demo to the other, which can probably be best illustrated by the fact that the Gorguts demo was recorded in the drummer's parents' house, and the Disincarnate demo was recorded, mixed, and produced by Scott Burns at Morrisound. So, a little different in the recording processes there. But the Gorguts demo isn't really bad at all in terms of quality, and the performance is really top-notch as well, so keep that in mind. I should also mention the cover art, as it was done by Batic or Badic Art, who's also done covers for Skeletal Remains, Master, and Malevolent Creation, among others. Definitely a little Seagrave influence here I'm seeing, but we see a lot of that these days. I mean, Dan was a really influential guy in the metal art scene, much like Mark Riddick is now. But yeah, love the cover art. Great choice. Anyways, vinyl variant on this one is 1 LP red. It is limited to 100 copies. So, not very many. Also get an insert with pictures and notes on each band. That's the other. So favorites on this one, definitely Hematological Allergy, as well as Calamitous Mortification from Gorguts, as well as Soul Erosion from Disincarnate. Definitely check those tracks out first. So I gotta say, I really love that the Metalhead box folks are putting out their own vinyl releases. Very cool. Of course, I've been doing exclusive releases on cassette and CDs since about 2019, but I'm really hoping they continue putting out these standalone releases on the vinyl format, which it actually seems like they're planning to do. Of course, you should log on to themetalheadbox.com to get a copy of this record, but while you're there, you can also find out about their subscription box service, on which I did a number of videos a few years back. Definitely check my playlist to watch some of those. Anyways, a couple of solid classic demos, one from a band still around, the other being a one and done. And if you're a fan of death metal from the early 90s, you probably shouldn't miss out on this one, because at 100 copies, the vinyl version is not going to last forever. So get on it. Next up is the latest live album from American thrash metal band Exodus. This is British Disaster, Battle of '89, live at the Astoria, released in 2024 by Nuclear Blast Records. So as the title amply suggests, this is a live show recorded at the Astoria in London, England on March 8th, 1989 in support of their Fabulous Disaster album, a tour known as the Fabulous Disaster Tour. Anyways, this is still with drummer and founding member Tom Hunting before he left the band for about 8 years. Likewise, we get the other members constituting the classic lineup, including Steve Zetro Zusa on vocals, who replaced Paul Bailoff in 1986. We've got 15 tracks in total, clocking in at about 77 minutes. and this is every song from the set they played. Also, if curious, Acid Rain was the opening act for the show. Fun fact. Anyways, as with most live albums, it's often good to talk about the mix, since that's where a lot of things can go wrong with these types of recordings. Largely, it's surprisingly decent. I mean, the drums are a little high in the mix, but that happened a lot during the classic thrash era, and this follows suit. Lots of between-song interaction with the band and the audience, the latter of which you can hear well for the most part, so they're at a reasonably good level too. The audience, that is. Of course, you get both Steve and Gary yelling at the crowd, which makes sense since Gary Holt often joins in with the banter. Also worth mentioning is that the recordings of A Lesson in Violence and Then There Were None had previously appeared as bonus tracks on the 1989 CD reissue of Bonded by Blood, their first album. What's interesting is that on the Nuclear Blast site, the promo for this record states that this recording had remained unheard and kept in the Exodus vaults until now, which is somewhat weird to say considering we had heard 2 of these tracks back in 1989. But sure, not the entire set. I get it. Still, doesn't feel entirely truthful. You decide, I suppose. Anyways, vinyl variant on this one is 2 LP gold. It is limited to 2,500 copies. So lots of them are out there. Let's get a gatefold jacket with some credits right down there and a whole lot of filler artwork. Sure, why not, right? Anyways, favorites on this one are Till Death Do Us Part, Piranha, Brain Dead, and of course the classic Exodus show ender, Strike of the Beast. Great version. Also, a visualizer video is available for Fabulous Disaster. You can find that at the Nuclear Blast Records YouTube channel. So, is this live record a must-have in light of their 1991 live album, Good Friendly Violent Fun, which was actually recorded 4 months later in America? Well, a couple things to consider here. Friendly Violent Fun was only 8 tracks. This new record is 15, so more music. Also, the 1991 record has no songs from Bonded by Blood, where British Disaster has 5. And let's be honest, if you're a diehard Exodus fan, you're going to get this anyways. As for me, believe it or not, I never owned a copy of Good Friendly Violent Fun ever. But I did want a live album from the classic Exodus era, and this was easier to get, and it fits the bill, so here it is. Overall, really glad I bought this. Killer live album. So just another release I picked up that I have less to talk about, but is certainly worth showing. This is the deluxe hardcover edition of Behemoth's live album entitled Messe Noir. It was released in 2018 by Metal Blade Records and limited to 750 copies. So this is a live performance of the blackened death metal band's 2014 studio album, The Satanist, in its entirety, plus 6 extra tracks. Also comes in this 48-page book, which I'll show momentarily. This live album came out in a number of formats and editions, some of which contain many more tracks, but this variant is concentrated on the Satanist album specifically. It also comes in 2 LP green vinyl. It is tucked in these non-lined pockets, which I'm not particularly excited about. It's a cool color of green. Maybe I'll just pull it out so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. There you are. So I'm not going to put these into polyline sleeves later. I just got this, so there's that. The book is really, really cool, though. There are lots of interesting photos, backstage as well as live. I do like these sort of, I don't know if they're rice paper or tracing paper lead pages for the different sections, but it's a pretty amazing little book. I'm just going to flip through some of it. See more of that here. It's gold writing on this tracing paper, which is a little hard to read, but you know, it's there. Great shots. Again, not going to show the entire thing, but killer shots. Yeah, throughout. There you go. And track listing on the back. Very cool collection of live material from this band. And as you know, I'm trying to get into Behemoth a little bit more these days. So I figured a live album was pretty much the way to go, as to sort of forward that, because this is a band that really excels live, as many people know. So anyways, Behemoth, Messe Noir. So that's what I got this month. Maybe you got some of these as well. You should let me know that. Also, let me know what else you got, what you might get, whatever sounds good on streaming to you. Would love to hear about all of that as well. And of course, anything else that makes sense in the comments below. Of course, if this is your first time to my channel, my name is Matt. This is the Accusation Network, where each and every week I do videos on classic and modern metal, as well as metal vinyl collecting. If you like the sound of that, definitely give this video a like. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And of course, share my videos with some of your friends. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.